is if you don't prospect them, you just let them in. How do you know what you're letting in?
Yeah, but
no, I had to let go of it. I guess my sexiness was taken away from the signal.
I can see that. You're so magnetic, you just suck up all the energy around you, you know? Right. So we just celebrated the 26th anniversary, the birthday of this club. What does that mean to you?
It means I missed out on 16 years.
Right?
Now, to me, and I say this about a lot of clubs, not just ours, the things that the men that have come before us had to do to establish the longevity of their club, like our club, has given me a greater respect for them. Because if they had to go through half of what we went through, or more because they were just starting, then they earned that respect more than I did. I mean, I'm kind of coming in on their coattails.
Right,
if that makes sense.
No, I feel you.
I mean,
so like that diamond you wear on your chest right there was earned by the men who came before us.
Yeah.
Right? We.
Now, all I can do is hope by the end of all this, I've earned it and done it justice.
Right. So they earned it to put it on, and it's our duty to uphold that.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to impart upon any of the members that come under us in our charters, is that you earn your patch, but you don't stop earning once you receive the patch. You have to continue to work to earn that patch and all the patches and all the symbols and maintain the status and the quality of a club that the Forgotten Few has always been.
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying, it's easier to get it than it is to keep it. And I'm not saying it's easy to get it, because if it was easy to get it, we would be numbered in the thousands and thousands.
Right.
But in our club, keeping it is where the real journey begins. It's not, prospecting is just the first step. Once you get full patch, that's where your true journey begins.
Right.
That's where it's up to you to prove that you're worthy enough to keep it. And I wish more people had that thought process, because we would have some good solid brothers if they did. Not that we don't already. I mean, the ones that we got, I wouldn't trade for anything.
Right.
But I think our numbers would be a little bit bigger if we had guys that had sort of or close to the same values as we do.
Right. So that means we have to mine the soil a little better than what we've done sometimes. You know, and use better discernment in who we bring in.
Yeah.
Because some of these guys that have come, you ever have a guy show up and you kind of get that feeling, your spidey senses go off and say, this guy ain't got it. But you know, everyone around you is like, yeah, let's take him. And so you go with it because, you know, a lot of times as the P, I kind of step back from those decisions and let the brothers make those decisions. You know, I let them kind of say, I weigh in, give my opinion, but I generally let them, whatever they vote, I'll go with it, right? But there's some times I'm like, this dude ain't got it, bro. And we go with it, and he ain't got it. It ends up being he ain't got it. So, you know, and I don't do a I told you so kind of thing. It's just, you know, you invest time and energy into somebody, and then it doesn't pan out, You're like,
yeah.
you know, it's kind of disappointing. It's like reoccurring heartbreak.
Yeah. Well, brother, you know better than I do. I've had some dudes that they acted like they were ready, and they weren't. That was my bad. I learned from it. And then I've had some guys that came in and came up and just thought they were entitled to it. Like, I had one cat tell me because he was military, he should get a pack for free.
Yeah, no. Don't work like that.
Yeah. It don't. Mine didn't come free, his ain't either.
And I've seen that too, and I'm like, nah, bro. It's we had some dudes roll through one time. There was a crew of them, and they wanted to come this way. I've met with them, we talked to them, and then I explained to them, because they lived up the road, man. So I explained to them, listen, you're gonna be prospecting through us. You're gonna be prospecting through Purdue, so you're gonna have to be making them trips, you and your crew. And when they found out they couldn't do it from a distance, they went off and started their own club.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. And then kind of borrowed our name and that kind of, I was like, oh, look at this. But you know, you're like, whatever. You know, that's that. What do they say? Imitation is a form of flattery or something like that.
Yeah.
So
we it's not our fault. We can't help it. But sometimes we're just trendsetters.
Right. Right.
It amazes me at how many people watch us and end up adapting a few of our systems for their own, which is fine, but then it aggravates me when they claim it that they started it.
Right.
I mean, I'm not in here to get credit from some other club, but my God, man.
Yeah.
Don't steal something and then say you made it.
Right. That's like Rhino creating the 1%er Jesus. Right?
Yeah.
And now you see that. I see people wearing that on t-shirts and stuff, bro.
Yeah.
The Jesus on the bike, the one hand, the 1%er thing. Jesus was a 1%er.
Yeah.
That's us. But nobody knows it's us. There's no thing down there on the bottom saying this is from the Forgotten Few. You know, but it is. And so you got a lot of clubs running around using that. I see it posted up from time to time on social media. But that came directly from our member who created that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know.
I mean, there's a lot of little sayings that we have that I see blasted all over the place everywhere that we're not.
Yeah. And when you think about that kind of thing, brother, on this channel, the most popular video on this channel is the one where, you know, we're sitting around the table here and we're talking about being God's outlaws, and the question comes up about being Christian 1%. And that video gets so much attention. Some of it's very positive attention. Some of it is, how can a Christian be a 1%er? How can a Christian be an outlaw? How can a Christian do this? How can Christians prospect people? I'm like, what? And it's kind of, to me, it's like so silly because number one, just starting at the basics, prospecting. Jesus prospected the disciples, bro. Being a disciple is being a prospect. He prospected them dudes. They came in green, didn't know nothing.
Jesus spent 3 years with his disciples before he released them to the world on their own.
Right.
It wasn't until after he was crucified that he told them to go and create disciples among the nations. If I'm not mistaken.
No, you're right. Go out and make disciples.
For 3 years, these dudes followed him around learning. how to be the proper man of God. And then they were allowed to go out on their own. I don't understand. It may not have been called prospecting, but discipleship under Jesus was prospecting.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't make them do push-ups or wash bikes, but I'm pretty sure there were some humbling situations.
Right. He certainly gave him some correction.
They had to learn from it.
Even when Peter stepped out on the water and began to sink, he challenged him on that. Where's your faith?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it was prospecting. It wasn't what we do because they're not riding motorcycles and all that. But they had to do a lot of work. They had to do a lot of service. They got reprimanded when it was necessary. They got put in check. Chain of command was definitely apparent. All of that kind of stuff that we implement here, they implemented there. So when someone says, how are you going to make someone prospect to be in a Christian organization? That's so ridiculous to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's silly. You know,
how can you not? Not only that, is if you don't prospect them, you just let them in. How do you know what you're letting in? Because not only is the prospecting period a time for them to get to know us, it's also a time for us to get to know them.
Indeed.
It gives us that time to learn who we're handling and who we're allowing to become part of our family. So I don't understand why. I don't think I'll ever understand why people question that.
Right.
I mean, and the people that do question it, my question to them is okay, you gonna let a stranger come in your house without knowing who they are? No. Now, as far as being God's outlaws and all that, there's gonna come a time where being a Christian is gonna be illegal, and you are gonna be an outlaw to declare your faith in Christ. I mean, it's happening in some countries now.
Right? And there's a scripture in there, a couple scriptures, right? So when Paul knows that they're setting him up to execute him, right? If he goes back to Jerusalem, what does he do? He goes anyway. Is that not the most 1%er thing you do? I stand on what I stand on. I'm going there. I know what the outcome is probably going to be, but I'm going anyway. Jesus, what did they say? Don't go back to Jerusalem, right? Rabbi, don't go to Jerusalem. They want to kill you. It's all bad there. What does he say? I gotta go to Jerusalem. I know what's going to happen. It has to happen because of why I'm here, but I'm going, right?
Yeah.
And Peter steps up as his sergeant and slices that dude's ear off, the soldier's ear off, and Jesus says, whoa, calm down, puts homeboy's ear back. But, you know, that's the most 1%er stuff you can think of, bro. And it's crazy to me because when you talk about 1%ers, you see all these people, mostly not 1%ers, mind you, mostly not members of clubs like that. They're people who are trying to kiss the booty of these guys that post those things. 1%ers aren't criminals. 1% outlaws aren't gangs or something like. You've seen those posts that these guys make, and most of them are not in those clubs. They're people who are trying to get in good favor with those clubs. So they post that up, hoping it makes them look good, is my opinion. So if that's true to you, then how can you say that someone who's not a criminal isn't an outlaw? So what you're telling me is you really believe they are criminals, you really believe they are gangsters, and you're just talking trash.
Right.
So, shut up.
Right. If you don't believe 1%ers are criminals or skirting around the criminality of the legal system, let me put it that way, then what difference does it matter if we say we're God's outlaws?
Right, exactly. We're God's outlaws. We're not the world's outlaws. We're not secular outlaws. We don't do what we do for any kind of worldly glory. We don't do it for any worldly possessions, right? As I said in that video, the only thing we're concerned about fighting for is our place in the kingdom, bro. We'll fight for that. We'll fight for each other to protect our brothers. But that's it. We're not looking for beefs, and we're not trying to take no territory.
No. As a matter of fact, the way I feel about it, whatever y'all got going on over there, not you specifically, but these other clubs, that's fine. Y'all do y'all. I'm going to sit here and do me and not worry about y'all.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not going to get involved until it lands on my front door.
Right. I got friends in some of these other clubs, and I'm cool with them, but I'm not in their business, bro. I'm not trying to be in their business and get involved in any politics. I don't take sides on this stuff. I'm like, it is what it is, man. That's your beef. That's your issue. You guys are big boys. You can work it out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand it, man. People try to think that just because you wear patches on a vest that you can't be doing the right thing, and then there's people that think if you don't wear patches on a vest, you're not right. It's a matter of opinion, and honestly, their opinion don't matter to me. Right. I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna ride with my brothers and care for my brothers, and pardon the language, but piss on everything else. I ain't got time for none of that. If I'm wasting all my time worrying about what other people are doing, then my house is falling apart.
Right. Worry about your own house. Make sure your own house is in order.
A house divided will never stand.
Is that in the Bible? I'm just joking. No, I think that was Abraham Lincoln or something like that. But that's a legit quote. I was just teasing about the biblical part. But you know, I know we've had guys that have come in this club and left, and they say things like we're not Christian enough. They think we're too outlaw. And then when they leave, where do they go?
Yeah, every one of them that I've heard say that's ended up being 1%er or 1%er support club.
How does that work, man?
I don't know.